Hello! It's a beautiful overcast day here in Pahrump, Nevada. My energy levels are finally back to normal. Pneumonia is in the rearview mirror. I finally feel like I'm not dying. I'm very excited to be reading Discwolrd this week. I'm gonna find something else to read along with this, but I'm so happy to be tackling some Terry Pratchett again. We're going to get a lot of things filmed this week. It's going to be very productive. There's just 2 more days left of April, and then we're gonna start off May with a bang. Welcome to the reading vlog. Tuesday, April 30th. I finally finished System Collapse, the latest installment of the Murderbot Diaries, on the last day of the month, and it was okay. I loved the first story arc for the Murderbot Diaries. The first 6 installments, Martha Wells could do no wrong. But the latest story arc, I'm not enjoying nearly as much. The first 5 installments are all about Murderbot learning what it means to be an individual. And the latest few installments have been about what it means to be a part of a community. And those are very different things. Very closely connected, but very different. Also, the first 5 installments of the Murderbot Diaries were novellas. The latest installments are full-length novels. And I feel like the pacing and writing style is better suited for a novella. I feel like the novels drag a little too much. That being said, it's like probably a 3 out of 5 stars for me. On a happier note, I'm very much enjoying Discwolrd. I love the character named Carrot, and this installment of Discworld has one of my favorite tropes, one of my favorite silly, stupid tropes, and that is character is abandoned by their parents, is adopted by someone of another species, is brought up and raised, and they're completely oblivious to the fact that they are not the same species as the people that raised them. Which just seems so silly on its face. It just seems super ridiculous. And it is. Like, one of our characters is raised by dwarves. And this man is super tall, 6'6" human, and he's hairless, and his adopted parents are telling him, like, hey, you're not a dwarf, you should go be with your own kind. And he's like, maybe I'm just a tall, hairless dwarf. And it's just ridiculous. Terry Pratchett will write some really ridiculous things. And then randomly, you'll reach a paragraph where he says something incredibly thought-provoking about civilization, human nature, morality, religion, and you'll think about it and be like, ooh, let's continue on with this thought, and then he just never returns to it. Terry Pratchett wants the reader to think, but he does not want to tell the reader how to think, and I appreciate that about him, but also, it can be quite jarring as a reader of Discworld to be reading one of Terry Pratchett's books, to encounter such a deep thought and to never revisit it can be quite frustrating, even though it is very entertaining. Wednesday. One thing I very much appreciate about Terry Pratchett is, despite Discworld being an absurdist, satirical take on a high fantasy world, he still takes the time to develop this world, and he even has footnotes in his later novels. And footnotes are sexy. I say it all the time on the channel. I love when I see a little number by a paragraph and I click on it and I get a little bit of added information about the world I am reading about. Like I learned today, or learned late last night, that in Discworld, dwarves, male and female, they both have beards. They're very hard to distinguish between one another. And also, they customarily wear many layers of clothes, like 12 layers of clothing. So Terry Pratchett has a little footnote and he's like, among dwarves, gender is optional. And what a funny way to describe gender. You know, I've heard the whole gender is a spectrum, gender is this, but gender is optional. Very forward thinking from Terry Pratchett. And just a little funny tidbit he throws out there for the reader just to think about. Terry Pratchett has a talent for describing people and places in such a unique but understandable way. Listen to some of these descriptions of people and places. His age was indeterminate, but in cynicism and general world weariness, which is a sort of carbon dating of the personality, he was about 7,000 years old. The patrician was not a man you shook a finger at, unless you wanted to end up being able to count only to 9. The patrician liked to feel that he was looking out over a city that worked. Not a beautiful city, or a renowned city, or a well-drained city, and certainly not an architecturally favored city. Even its most enthusiastic citizens would agree that, from a high point of vantage, Ankh-Morpork looked as though someone had tried to achieve in stone and wood an effect normally associated with the pavements outside all-night takeaways. But it worked. It spun along cheerfully like a gyroscope on the lip of a catastrophe curve. Thursday night. So today was a very interesting day because I was driving home from work. I have an hour-long commute, so of course I'm being irresponsible, checking my YouTube studio while I'm driving. And I noticed that I gained like 140 subscribers. And I was like, why is that? I was out of commission all of last month. That makes no sense. So I thought, because this has happened several times, that like an MMA adjacent YouTube channel mentions me, and it's usually one of the unserious trolling MMA channels. So then I get several subscribers that come, they say, what up, I'm here from this channel, and then they never watch a video again. And it actually negatively affects the channel. So when I saw 100 and something of you guys subscribe, I actually got really upset and really frustrated and really worried, because I was like, dang, this already happened when I fought Patty. When I fought Patty, it straight up ruined the channel for about a year, because a bunch of people just followed me so that they could troll me. So I was worried. But then I came across the Reddit posts, which brought all the subscribers to my channel. And it was quite heartwarming. Social media is usually horrible. It's the devil. Reddit's my favorite social media platform. But it definitely brought a smile to my face where I saw all these comments that were positive, and people came and subscribed and commented and watched stuff. So thank you guys for, subscribing to the channel, finding my little corner of the internet. We're not going to be talking about fighting very much, but if you enjoy books, I'll love having you. On the reading front, I started a book called Almond today. And this book is very different in tone from Discworld. It's very serious and introspective and depressing. It tells the story of a young man who was born with undeveloped amygdala in his brain. Amygdala are a portion of the brain between your ear and your brainstem, and they are roughly the size and shape of an almond. They control your emotions and your emotional intelligence. So the protagonist of this story does not feel fear, happiness, anger, none of the emotions. So far in the book, we're just getting a lot of character development as our protagonist does not appropriately navigate social circumstances. And that's relatable. I remember being a young, awkward preteen and not acting appropriately in certain, settings. I think a lot of us can relate to that. So yeah, very awkward, depressing protagonist that I'm following. But Almond is very compelling. It has a very simplistic writing style because it's a translation from Korean, but I kind of like that because it's all about the ideas, not about the fluff.
A tragedy that's too distant cannot be your tragedy. Even though my brain was a mess, what kept my soul whole was the warmth of the hands holding mine on both sides. From what I understood, love was an extreme idea, a word that seemed to force something undefinable into the prison of letters. But the word was used so easily, so often. People spoke of love so casually, just to mean the slightest pleasure or thanks. What does love mean? To discover beauty. People shut their eyes to a distant tragedy, saying there's nothing they can do. Yet they didn't stand up for one happening nearby either, because they're too terrified. Most people could feel, but didn't act. They said they could sympathize, but easily forgot. The way I see it, that was not real. I didn't want to live like that.
Sunday morning. I'm feeling a little under the weather. Me and the wife are both feeling a little sick, but that's probably because I overworked myself on Friday, and yesterday was a very hectic, stressful, rushed day because we had to commute to a friend's baptism, and that was an hour and a half there, hour and a half back, with a toddler and a newborn in the car, and they're crying and screaming and rambunctious, and it was an absolutely exhausting day. I feel knackered, and I'm a little phlegmy. But I did finish Almond yesterday, and that was a really hit-you-in-the-feels read. It's essentially the story of a young man who's learning the importance of friendship and family despite not being able to feel love and affection. And it's a very analytical look at relationships that are very hard to put into words because we kind of just feel our way through these relationships. We use our emotions to navigate these social circumstances, but our protagonist cannot. He encounters characters who can't control their emotions. He deals with life's hardships. He doesn't suffer from trauma. But on the other hand, he doesn't get to enjoy the happiness of great things happening to him. A very interesting, introspective read. And I enjoyed it. So thank you, Jack Edwards, for the recommendation. He made a video like 11 books you should read in 2024 and loved this one. The plan for today, because I forgot to upload a YouTube short yesterday because of the baptism and the hecticness, I'm going to upload 2 YouTube shorts today. I'm going to finish Guards. I have about 282 pages left. but I got 14 hours, so very manageable. Let's see if we can get it done. It is a cold Sunday night, and I did not finish Guards. This week I only ended up finishing 2 books, System Collapse and Almond, 475 pages. I am loving Guards immensely. I have just under 100 pages left. And next week the focus is going to be Malice, the first book in The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne, and I'll be finishing up Guards. That'll be the focus for next week. I look forward to a series review for Pluto, the first manga I finished ever, being uploaded on Saturday, and a book review video for Mort, another Discworld novel, uploaded on Friday. Next week I'm super excited for. Good videos planned, good books planned. This week is pretty dang good, but next week's going to be even better. By the way, many thank yous to the Redditor that posted about my channel on Reddit. It touched my heart, made me feel good. I'm happy to have you guys along for the reading journey, and hopefully we can have some fun for the rest of 2024. Thank you guys for watching this week's reading vlog, and I'll see you guys next time.